Grace and peace to you guys, man. Well, we got something I wanted to share with you guys. I was thinking about Jesus. And Jesus, I was thinking about, how I really value my quiet time. And right now it's after sunset in the afternoon. As you can see, it's almost nighttime here. But anyway, I really value my quiet time. I realized Jesus had quiet time only like 4 o'clock in the morning, 3, 4 in the morning, when nobody's stirring, nobody's moving. That's crazy. And I thought about it. I was thinking to myself, hey man, I really value my quiet time. I really like being by myself at times. I like being with people too, but I really like being by myself or being with God and just talking and communing with God. And Jesus sacrificed that. He never turned anybody away. So even when he was looking for his quiet time and people started following him because they wanted to get stuff, and it sucked the life out of him. Of course, he had life abundantly, so it was a little bit different. But it sucked the life out of him, sucked the virtue out of him. He came and he lived just to see them do well, but then he would get charged up by going, into like wilderness or someplace away from people and get charged up with God. And I was thinking about that. I was thinking about this. For all of that stuff that he did for people, for all the good that he did for people, the funny thing about the whole thing is you'd find that Jesus, after all of that, nobody stood up for him. Not one person. Now, there's a difference between standing up or standing for something and fighting on behalf of something or running away from something. There's a difference. All right? Because Peter, to his credit, did stand up and chop off the chief servant's ear. Malchus, I think it was. So he stood up and he started fighting on behalf of Jesus. And then Jesus said, hey man, put away your sword, put back the ear of Malchus. And he's like, you got to understand, this is the purpose for which I came. But instead of standing with Jesus, standing with him in defense of him like that, he chose to run away with all the other disciples. All right? Because see, all of us, I'm going to get up and get out of here now. As I'm moving, well, I'm going to share this. All of us have what we call the fight or flight hormone, which is called adrenaline. All right? You get excited for something, and there are 2 things that cross your mind. It either crosses your mind to run away from that thing as fast as you can if it's a threat, or to actually stand and fight it. And adrenaline allows you to have that high energy level that is necessary to be able to tend to that. But that song by Donnie McClurkin, Stand? Standing for something, or standing, not fighting or flying, but standing your ground, is different. It calls for calm in the midst of the storm. And when you stand for Christ, you're not going to be fighting, because he does the fighting. And you're not going to be running away from the situation either. The moral of the story is, Jesus did a lot of things for people, but he stood for something. And he was willing to die as a sheep before the shearers, standing for that thing so that we could live. And he stood for love. And it was crazy what he did. His whole action, his whole purpose, his whole life was about love. And he stood for it. And that's not an easy thing to do. But I challenge you guys as Christians that once you ask Jesus for him to be in your life, to stand with him. And the only way is to ask him for the power to stand with him for something, so that no matter what comes towards you, you will not change your stance. You will stand with Christ. If he was crucified and we have to be crucified as well, I mean that figuratively, crucified by people, let's stand in the midst of that and have that peace within the storm. That's not easy, as I said, to do, but it is possible. Impossible with man, possible with God, and that means we need to have God in us. All right, guys, you have a good one. Deuces.